What's going on, people? What's going on? What's going on? Just trying to give y'all a second to come into the room so we can get into Reasonable Doubt Season 1. I made a whole bunch of notes. So this may be a two-parter. But I'm just waiting for everybody to come into the room. Hey, everybody, what's going on? I see y'all. I see y'all in the chat. Sorry for the delay. They got a storm of brewing, girl. There's a storm of brewing. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Not come on in. Not come. Sorry, y'all. Y'all know I'm weird. Whatever.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl BondyBlue. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl BondyBlue. Okay, follow me on Instagram and let's get into the video. Right.
All right. Hey, everybody, what's going on this good Wednesday, girl? Okay, there is a storm of brewing down here in Louisiana, so I am going to try to get through this video, through this live as quickly as possible. Okay, I'm also going to. We're gonna see how this weather gonna be, because I would really like to do another BondyBlue show for my members. Today I would. But we're gonna see, because the internet been tripping already. Hi everybody, what's going on? Wait, let's go back. It's not lit enough. It's not lit enough. Girl, because the sun been playing games, girl. The sun been going in and out the clouds, in and out the clouds. Okay. And now it seems like it's all clouds, girl. Okay, hey everybody. So happy to see y'all coming into the room. Okay, we're about to get into Reasonable Doubt. Okay, with that being said, let me remind y'all before we get into it, just move supplements. Use my link. Get you some energy supplements, some energy rush, so you can do what you got to do throughout your day. Also, don't forget about the protein shakes. If you somebody that doesn't have an appetite all the time, but you still need to power through, girl, go ahead and try to just move supplements. Okay, y'all. This is not now that we're grown. Okay, I know that's what the graphic looked like. Um, Reasonable Doubt is this new show that came on Hulu, girl. And it was real good. It was real good. And the fact that, it's a when you watch shows like this as an adult, when you be going through similar situations or your friends be going through similar situations, like it's a totally different show to watch when your ass is grown and can go through some of the things on the show versus when you are younger and you really don't have a grasp on these things. So this show was really good for me. Y'all know I love me a strong black female led cast. Okay. Let me go ahead and pull up the cast members' names because I don't want to forget, because I don't be knowing. So Amayasi, I think that's how you pronounce her name, but I could be wrong, child. But she plays Jax. So we just gonna call her Jax, okay? Because I don't want to pronounce that lady name wrong, but I love her. Okay. She looked like one of my friends. But she played this part down to the ground, girl. Down to the ground. The show wasn't even like out for a whole 6 months, and they put her on a t-shirt with Maxine in them. You know what I'm saying? Well, Claire and Maxine, all of the other TV lawyers that are black that we have known to come and love. You know what I'm saying? So understand that if you have not got into this series, do yourself a favor and do that. But I'm about to go ahead and start and get into my notes, okay? But it's so good, girl. And we about to go ahead and start. Let's go. The beginning. At the beginning of the series, we see Jax being tied to a chair. She's begging for her life. Her assailant pulls out a gun and she begins to pray. Then he shoots her. Boom. Transition. Present. Well, not present. Past. Okay. And Jax gets up in the morning. We see her routine. I'm like, oh, all right. I'm glued into the routine. She go and run. Okay. I love me some black girls that know they got to start off their day with a workout. Okay. Get into it. All right. She showers before work. A little masturbation. Okay. Her and her husband have similar they have similar morning routines, as we'll get to see, but that comes later in the season. But she runs and showers before work. She joins her family for Sunday mass. Okay, I thought she was going to work, but it was Sunday mass. But Jax is one of those lawyers where it may be about work on a Sunday. Okay, it just may be. She's very serious about her job, and that has caused issues in her marriage because her husband feels like she chooses her career over him in their family. When really it's like, this girl has always been about her career. For her, it's a calling. You even making her choose between you and her career was a mistake that you should not have made. Okay, but either way, we will continue on. So she joins her family for Sunday mass. Okay, her son is being a little asshole because y'all know, as these boys tend to do, when they be mad with their mama because they feel like their mama then broke the family up, but really it's the daddy on some level, but they gonna blame the mama, so now he's upset and got a little attitudinal problem with his mama, all because he feeling away about the fact that the family is broken apart. The dad is living in his own apartment. They have separated, so he showed up to the house for them to go to church together. Okay, so they're still trying to have some level of normalcy in their lives with their kids, even though they are currently separated. All right, so she and her husband giggle about Sister Nancy asking for money draped in Gucci. Okay, she gets a work call, and when she goes to take it, her husband is seemingly bothered. Once again, Jax is choosing her job over her family obligations. Jax call, I make sure she still has this diaper on, child. Jack's call is from another attorney. Okay, I believe somebody she's familiar with, but either way, the attorney is calling about one of her clients who is being accused of SA because he showed her, this woman, his Johnson. Okay, Jack sees it as a money grab. The lawyer says, as a woman, he thought she would understand, but I guess not. She says that she understands the law and facts, not threats and cash apps. Okay? Jax is the only Black woman sitting at her boardroom table. She's also a partner in her firm. You know what I'm saying? So her name is on the building. So y'all remember how long it took Terry to become a lawyer, to become partner on Soul Food. Y'all remember on the Soul Food series, it took Terry so long to become partner at Green Norris. Okay, and it became what was it? It was Green Norris and whatever the girl's last name was. Okay, Terry, child, I didn't forgot the people. Joseph. Okay, it was Joseph, the Joseph sisters. Okay, y'all remember that? So, like, I want y'all to understand that I believe this show is also paying homage to all of the Black female lawyer characters that we've seen over the years, because for some reason, whenever you got a Black woman lawyer, she is kicking ass. Okay, from Claire all the way to Terry, to Maxine, and to Olivia Pope, to Annalise Keating. Okay, there's a t-shirt somewhere with everybody's name on it. I'm gonna need for y'all to get the little Meghan Markle girl off there. Okay, get her off there. We wasn't watching Suits or whatever the show was. We wasn't watching that, and we didn't even know she was Black. Get her off of the shirt. Okay, it needs to be only the people that are identifiably Black and Black characters, and their Blackness is a part of their character. I didn't watch that show, so I don't know, but I just feel like y'all threw her on there because of recent events, not because she was really supposed to be on the t-shirt. But I digress. Okay, either way, Jax, like I said, is the only Black woman sitting at her boardroom table, child, and the shoulders and decolletage are giving everything that needs to be given. Okay, I want y'all to be clear. Okay, so she has to play this game with the white microaggressions and the comments about how much she makes and if she's worth how much she's making and all of these types of things. And everybody's like, ha, 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 when really y'all are trying to insult me, therefore insulting my intelligence. And then I have to play it cool and not curse you the fuck out and draw reference to the fact that I bring more money into this place than you do, and the fact that you think you can question how much I make, is a laugh. Thank you so much, Lauren, for becoming a member. Okay, we appreciate you, girl. Yes. Okay. So her mom calls her. Her mom is played by child, because I Pauletta Washington. Okay, Pauletta Washington is Denzel Washington's wife. Okay, her name is Mama Lou. Okay, that's what they call her. They call her Mama Lou. And Mama Lou is somewhat problematic for a number of reasons, girl. We not ready to climb all the way into them. But y'all see, I'm gonna put this little screenshot up here for y'all so y'all can just have, if y'all don't know who we talking about, y'all can have a clear picture of who we talking about. Okay. Now see, look, do y'all see the picture of the man smoking? That's the husband. Her over here on the left side of the screen, the third picture is her and her husband. The bottom, at the very bottom, that's her and her mama. Okay. So just, reference points. Okay. So moving along. Her mom calls pressuring her to bring her kids over to see her and her stepdad, Paul. She gets home to Will, her nightly patrol officer. What the is a nightly patrol officer doing here? Fine black man, tad bit lame, hired by her husband to keep watch because her job is very it's a very dangerous job because of the people that she represents. She's a criminal attorney. Let me see what you said, Laura. She said it's not Meghan Markle from Suits. It's Gina Torres' character from Suits who ends up owning her firm. Oh, okay. Meghan Markle character was a paralegal who eventually became a lawyer. Okay, thank you for clearing that up for me because I felt like I was like, who is that? Like it was somebody I didn't know. I didn't watch Suits, but I do remember Gina Torres being on there. Also I remember all of the issues y'all have with Gina Torres because y'all wasn't happy with that girl for wanting y'all to not ignore her Latin ethnicity. Okay, but either way, thank you for clearing that up, Miss Stillman. I appreciate you. Okay. Um, if that he she, I don't know. I saw Miss, but Miss Stillman. I don't know, girl. I appreciate you. Black Donuts, thank you so much for the super chat. But yes, fine black man named Will, Lil Lame, hired by husband to be security. Okay. Lewis has moved out. That's her husband name. I told y'all who Lewis was. Okay, that's that big fine man that be in all of the Tyler Perry black TV shows and movies. Okay. But anyway, yes, Lewis has moved out, and it's obvious their son is blaming Jax, asking if he can go home with Lewis instead of staying home with her. Jax said, and as women, girl, we always get aggravated with this because it's like, of course, you want to go and be with a fun parent, but the one that's doing all the hard work, F me, right? That's how they be, girl. But anyway, Jack says he just wants someone to watch her. He says that she never wants to talk. He's not handling the trial separation well. Jax has three good homegirls. Okay. Like I'm skipping through notes, y'all. Hold up. So let's go back right quick. He's not handling the trial separation well. Their son isn't. Lewis, I feel like, is the one that wanted this separation. Lewis is the one that wanted the separation. And he wanted it because I think he gave her an ultimatum like, oh, if you don't quit your job, then we're going to break up. And so it was like, well, I guess we need to break the fuck up. And it was like, oh, okay, wait, no, let's separate instead. Like that type of situation. And I feel like Lewis felt that his absence was going to make Jax change her mind about her position at her law firm. And I just feel like he's not being realistic at all. Jax has her three good homegirls. Okay. Chanel is the main one. Okay. She has one good homegirl that's gay. We didn't dive too deeply into her character, but we appreciate her because she's the homegirl you can always rely on. Then there's the other homegirl, I forgot her name, but she's married to one of the men in the group, and it seems as if their marriage might be one of the better marriages in the friend group because they went to therapy with each other. They are honest with each other. Like, we'll get into it, but she has this friend group dynamic, which I love, but she absolutely can come off like the know-it-all. I pretend like I have my shit together, but I really don't type of personality. Yes, Jax is a mess. And the son, y'all, the son is so disrespectful, but we're going to give the little boy some grace because his parents did separate, and that's hard to deal with. But he's a little asshole. I was so glad later in the episode when she told him she wasn't raising a fuck nigga. Okay, I'm 15 minutes in. Okay, listen. Anyway, So, like I said, Jax has her three good homegirls. Chanel tells her that she's probably just sad because Lewis isn't there anymore. And you can tell that Chanel is the male identified homegirl. She's the one that's going to find a way to make whatever Jack's issue is about a fucking man. Like she don't have all of these other things going on. But it's because that's what Chanel's life is. Chanel is all about her ex football playing, cheating, abusive ass husband. Okay. And so, because I think she makes her man the focus of her world, she feels like, she's one of those women that feel like the women who pursue their careers above all are making mistakes. Okay. And I just feel like all of you women, I know that was real cute in the 80s and the 90s for y'all to feel like y'all had a leg up over women with careers because oh, when you get older you're gonna regret. No, you're not. No, you're not. You may not regret it at all. Go to hell. Anyway, I'm just saying. Then she tells everyone her husband is eating some other, then tells her to stay because Lewis is a good guy. I was just like, what is going on, Chanel? Like, really, Chanel? She was just like, yeah, well, my husband is eating some other. So what else is going on? Girl, you should really stay with Lewis because Lewis is a good guy. And that's a thing that I can't stand that we always do, which is compare ourselves to the worst. So because Lewis isn't beating her ass or cheating on her repeatedly, she should just take whatever he is, whatever ultimatum he's offering her, even if it means letting go of something that's important to her, like her law career, her partnership at a huge law firm. Child, if y'all don't get the fuck out of my face. It's like that's crazy as hell to me for a woman to have like that was another thing about this show that annoyed me. Jax is extremely accomplished. And all anybody could worry about is if she and Lewis are okay. Like it's obnoxious. I think he thought if he went big, he could get his way, but Jax called his bluff. Sure did. Sure did. I love so much that they were professional women that curse like we really do. Yes, keep it a buck. Okay, reminds me of Whitney Houston relationship with her mom and Waiting to Exhale concerning Kenneth. Oh, girl, he's a good man, Savannah girl. It definitely was given that. So Jax and Rich, okay, that is her one of the partners at the firm. He's a white guy. Hold up. Let me see if I can find because I feel like I saved a picture of him so that I would be able to, just show him to y'all so y'all will remember who he was. But I don't know if the picture went through because sometimes the pictures don't be going through, girl. They be web pictures and then they be like, nope, we're not going to make this work at all for you. But hold up. Let me see if he's in this picture. Uh, just give me a second. But remember, Rich is the yes, okay. So I'm gonna put this up just so y'all can see. So Rich is the white guy here on the end. He is her law partner. He is responsible for like contracts, things of that nature. She is responsible for criminal. Okay. And then y'all see Sean Patrick Thomas, okay, one of our old early 2000s, late 90s, oldie but goodie niggas. Okay. It was all the good looking men's except for y'all know except for Michael Ealy this and her husband. These are the other men on the show, but I wanted to put that up so y'all would have a reference point. Rich was a fine white man. I really did like Rich as time went on. I didn't know how I was gonna feel about Rich, but I really began to like Rich as time went on. He has a loyalty to Jax. But either way, Jax and Rich talked to Mr. Miller, okay? Braden Miller, okay? That's who Sean Patrick Thomas is playing. And he's a black man who has recently become a millionaire through the sale of alcohol. He also paused when Jack said that it was dope that he had a black owned liquor company because he obviously is one of those black men that wants to separate himself from the black community. So when he is in the room with a black woman like Jax and she's using words like dope, he wants to make sure he shows that he doesn't connect with that type of language. It let her know what type he was. And there are black men that just so happen to be with white women, and then there are black men who specifically get with those white women because they want the image that comes with those white women and the access that comes with those white women. And Mr. Braden Miller is one of those black men. So he tells them that Mrs. Moore, one of his executive vice presidents, threatened a black woman, threatened to release company secrets on his company. He and Mrs. Moore were having a consensual relationship, but she accused him of SA. Okay. He wants her to sign an NDA and he asked if Jax can handle that as if she's some secretary or some shit. Rich says that I actually am the one that handles the contracts. Jax is a civil and criminal attorney. He waves his hand and asks them, why is she here? Very disrespectful. And she just was like, she's used to this at this point. So she just kind of looks at him like, really, nigga? Okay. Like, really, nigga? She reminds him that sexual assault is a criminal offense. So it's good that she is here. Okay. Like, don't be sitting up there trying to act like you are better than me because you separate yourself from your blackness when you're sitting here in my office needing our help because you've been accused of sexually assaulting a black woman. So just calm down. You know what I'm saying? Just calm down a little bit. Anyway, so Jack says he's an asshole. And so he's going to she's probably going to take Braden's case because apparently Jax not only likes criminals, but she likes her a good asshole. Okay. And girl, if I don't know, if I don't understand the love of asshole child, I sure do. So she gets info on this Instagram model who is suing her basketball star client. Y'all remember the phone call I told y'all about that she got while she was at church? She thought it was a money grab. Well, now she has her people start doing, some digging on this woman who's accusing her client of, SA by showing her the peen. Okay. And she's an Instagram model. Actually, what Jack said, Instagram thought. She had him send a text, her client. She had her client send a text message offering to take this woman on a paid vacation. And she texts back, he should have started there. So that let Jax know she was right about this situation being a money grab. Now, when I saw this, I thought we were going to have a different client every episode. But once Braden carried into the second episode, I said, oh, okay. So she may have other cases, but this is a show that's going to probably focus on one case per season for the most part. Okay. So I didn't really notice that at first, but this was what I was like, okay, cool. Because I didn't know what to expect, girl. I was just here for the ride. Thank you so much for the super chat, Worley, selling some love. I really enjoyed your interview on Storm Channel. Watched it yesterday. Very good interview. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Shout out to Storm Monroe. Jax gets home and Will, the security guard, is flirting with her, offering cigarettes and Ativan and shit. Okay. And he gives her a nice hug. I was just like, oh, not the security guard giving you drugs, a cigarette, and a hug. And she says it was the best part of her day. I was just like, oh my God, the best part of my day was having Will stick on my thigh. That's what it was given. Okay. They have cameras in the house. Apparently, Lewis is in technology, like he builds video games and things like that. So he has cameras all around the house, inside the house, watching Jax. So he saw this little interaction between she and Will, the security guard he hired to keep an eye on her. Meanwhile, also having cameras inside the house to keep an eye on her. And when I say keep an eye on her, I mean this man literally is in a dark room smoking a joint, looking at a camera of her in the house. Okay. Damon Cook, y'all. Let's go ahead and get into the Damon Cook of it all, child, because Michael Ealy know he is a special type of light-skinned black man, girl. He really is a special type of light-skinned black man, girl. And I say that because, I don't know if it's just me, but in my experience, light-skinned black men, especially with light eyes, like, girl, they will give you problems, issues. Okay. They hard sometimes, girl. They not easy. They not easy at all sometimes, girl. So when I see men that look like Michael Ealy, I automatically like am dismissive, like, child, I can't fool. Like, no, thank you. Okay. Like, nah. But girl, Michael Ealy has this smoldering quality to him that makes him like extremely attractive no matter what you do. His crazy is attractive. Like when he's on the shows and he's giving y'all all of this sweet intensity, and then it switches over to crazy, I'm jealous, I'll kill a nigga over you intensity, you still attracted. You don't even know why. You know what I'm saying? That's the vibe that Michael Ealy gives, girl. So Michael Ealy plays Damon Cook. That's the first picture up here at the top. I'm gonna put this big one up for y'all right quick. Damon Cook is out for parole. Okay, he's an old client from when Jax was a public defender. He insisted on seeing her. He's admitting to the murder that he was charged and convicted of in order to get out, because if he, admits it and apologizes, they will give him parole. They'll let him out on parole. And he's been in jail for 16 years, 5 months and 22 days. Okay. So son is trying to get out just so he can live, some of his life. Like the longer he sits in jail, the more, the harder it gets to stay there knowing that he can just say, I did it and get out. But Jax doesn't want him to do it. So when she decides to go and see him, because at first she wasn't going to go, he tells her that he wants to admit to the crime that she lost. She was his lawyer. She tried to get him off. He didn't do it. At one point we thought maybe he did, but he really didn't do it. What happens is you get caught up in a situation. He was messing around with some girl. It ended up being accused of her murder, I believe, but he wasn't the one that did it. So ultimately, he ends up going to jail and becomes hardened in the process of being in prison. So the crazy happened while he was in jail for 16 years, but we'll get to that later. Either way, she explains he will be on parole, and that is not freedom. He says he already missed so much of life, especially with his family, his niece. He has people that are out there that he's missing time with. She says he'll be a criminal. And it's like, he's already a criminal, Jax. He's in jail. He says, you like criminals, Jax. And he asks, what if he was out there? What if he was out there in the world with her? And that brings up the past. And I believe, based on what we've seen in the past, Jax got so wrapped up in this man's case that she fell in love with him. And when he went to jail, that broke her heart. And she had to leave um, being a public defender and went into, private law. It not only made her more money, but it took the heart out of it. I believe that she chooses to represent the worst for two reasons. One, she won't ever have her heart broken when they go to jail like she did with Damon. And on top of that, I believe that there's a part of her that feels like, if I can get off, the worst of the worst, if they did it, but I can win the case and I get them off, that just proves how good I am at this job. And she has a lot of pride in being good at her job. He says he went to jail for yes. It says that no woman involved. No, you know what it was that confused me, that made me think it was about a woman? His brother said that's how you got caught up back in the day off that gingerhead bitch. Remember? Do y'all remember when him and his brother? It happened later on in the episode, but it was something about what his brother said that made me feel like why he was in jail had something to do with that woman that he was talking about. Now I have it in my notes what actually went down, but this is just what I was thinking of, the beginning. So, fuck with me. But it was made clear that he didn't do it. By the time we get to the end of the show, it was made clear that he didn't do it. Not Michael Ealy might kill me in real life, but I risk it for the D. Okay, listen. Hey, Nola Reese, girl. Thank you for coming through. I ain't seen you in a minute. Thanks for moderating. So now we have the proposition of Damon being out of jail instead of in jail at a time where Jax is separating from her husband. So this is an option. This is an opportunity to revisit something that she had left in the past. Okay. Yeah, y'all, I put it all in the notes, so just fuck with me. Okay, so Jax meets up with her friend Sally. Sally is the one that has the good marriage. Okay, She meets up with her friend Sally to drink and forget about the day. She goes over to Louis' house drunk to see the kids. Louis meets her outside and asks her not to interrupt their sleep. She asks why he hates her so much. They end up getting in the car, and he says he doesn't hate her. He's hurt. He didn't think asking her to choose between him and her job would end up like this. He says that he loves her, and she asks, does he love her or the idea of her? Because if you really love me, then you would accept me being a lawyer, because that's a part of who I am. He says he knows her more than she thinks. She says that she doesn't believe him. And then he starts kissing her and putting his hands all in between her legs. And then it seemed like, she got there, for lack of a better term. At this moment, she got there. And then he put his fingers in her mouth and she licked them. I was just like, oh, y'all was freaks, huh? And then he tells her good night, basically playing with her emotions, and she feels played. So she goes home and flirts a little bit more with Will, the security guard. Okay. The friend who I think did it was checking out the girl, and the boyfriend got mad and started the fight. Oh, okay. Gotcha. That makes sense. Because he did say it was a girl involved. So that's why I thought that. But yeah, okay. So that's what happened. Okay, the friend who I think did it. Yeah, I think the friend did it too. We're gonna get to that. I don't want to jump ahead because that's confusing. It was a lot, of different moments in the show where you thought one thing happened, but another thing actually happened. It wasn't until like the last episode that we really got everything broken down for us. But anyway, so Kalisha. Kalisha and her cousin sit down, and Kalisha is the woman who accused Braden of sexual assault. His, former what is it, executive vice president, one of the executive, but she's a black woman, very smart. He was having an affair with her. She accused him of sexual assault. Her name is Kalisha. Okay. Kalisha and her cousin sit down with Rich, and Rich, being the schmuck lawyer, antagonizes Kalisha when he tells her there's no proof of sexual assault by Braden. And she says she is the proof. If he wouldn't have mentioned that, she would have signed those papers and went on about her day. But because he insinuated that she might as well sign the NDA because there was no proof of what she said happened, she got pissed and told him that she wasn't going to sign it. Rich tells her it's her word against Braden. So she rips the NDA up and says his word is shit. Kalisha sees Jax in the hallway and says next time a black woman says she's been AR'd, you should show the fuck up. Like Jax was supposed to be there in that meeting or something. And Jax was obviously affected and hurt by it and kind of rushes into her office. Rich ends up telling Braden that Kalisha didn't sign the NDA. Braden says, what's her name, right? What's her name? Mentions Jax. And Rich says, he said, the black one. Rich says who? He says the black one. And Rich says her name is Jax. So like this black man just, totally disrespecting this black woman, referring to her as the black one, as if he is not black. Like such a slap in the face, like just constantly having to be disrespectful to a black woman for whatever reason. Like you do not know this lady. This lady hasn't done anything to you, and you automatically have this disdain and disrespect for this woman because she's black, as if you are not black as well. Like Braden is the worst, okay? The fucking worst. So Braden says he knows what Kalisha wants, and he's going to give it to her whether she likes it or not. And this is when Rich is now bothered, because this sounds like you're gonna go and sexually assault her again. You think she just needs some dick to get over you trying to play with her about this business situation and this NDA. So you think if you're going to give her some dick, she'll change her mind, whether she wants it or not? Hello? Like that sounds like sexual assault 101. I slick love this show. So glad you're talking about it today. Oh, I'm glad. Y'all make sure y'all like the video. I was so hurt when he played with her and didn't finish. Oh, me too. This show has so many twists and turns. It had me guessing different things. I love this show. Me too. Mr. Miller better be glad he had Jax. Oh, he better be glad, because his ass would have went to jail with anybody else. Okay. Anyway, like immediately. from jump. Okay. But anyway, Jax drags herself out of bed to go over to her mom and Paul's house with Lewis and the kids. Mama Lou tells Lewis not to let Jax be too hard on him. When I tell y'all the way mothers, I remember tweeting like it's so weird to me, the way mothers will always make their daughters like the problem whenever there are relationship issues. Like I feel like I've had my mom do this same thing to me, constantly trying to impress upon me to care more about my husband's feelings than my own, always impressing upon me to give him all of this grace and not really giving any to me. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like when a mom said that shit about not letting Jax be too hard on him, that shit triggered me. Lewis tries to talk to her about what happened the other night, but she just wants to get through this sitting with Paul and her mom without all of this other shit. Okay, so they sing happy birthday to Paul, her stepdaddy. Jax is thinking about Kalisha at the moment. She runs out and says that she has cases to work on. And Lewis tells her how fucking selfish she is for not choosing her family over herself. And this right here is like a pivotal moment for me. Okay? Right? The programming is too strong. For real. This moment was so pivotal for me because I feel like when we go back, we now understand Paul's connection to her and why she thought of Kalisha, and then also why she felt the need to go run to work to get away from the emotions that she was feeling. Work is an escape for her, where she doesn't have to deal with the real traumatic things that she's been through. And so her husband, I believe, is looking to be the space that she runs to, and her job is the space that she runs to because she doesn't have to be emotionally involved in her job anymore since she became, a civil and criminal attorney and for private attorney versus working for the public defender's office. Now she doesn't have any heart in the situation. She can just be the best version of herself without being really emotionally invested. And I think that's why that's the place that she runs to. If she would have actually have to deal with her mom, with Paul, with Lewis, that's emotion. And she doesn't want to deal with that. That's too much. Okay. Which I totally understand. When you've had to put your feelings to the side for other people, eventually you kind of push them out in order to do that. You know what I'm saying? So I understand Jax for real, for real. So Damon's parole is approved, and he reads this letter that Jax wrote to him. Will tells Jax that today is his last day. His criminal record was reported. This was the end of the episode. So, like, we see Damon being approved. We, see him reading this letter that Jax wrote to him about how hard it was for her to lose his case, all of those things. But, like, he's held on to that. He's held on to how he felt about Jax all of these years. It's probably the only thing that's offered him some solace in such an uncomfortable, fucked up situation, So, when Jax got home that night, she found out that Will was going to be getting fired because his criminal record was reported. He offers her something stronger than the Ativan, and then she fucks him on her sofa. And the way she fucked him, she rode him cowgirl, reverse cowgirl. So she's facing the camera. And Lewis is at his apartment smoking a joint, looking at the camera, watching her fuck the security guard. Do y'all see this picture on the right-hand side of the screen all the way at the top? You see him blowing the smoke. He was turned on by watching her fuck dude. And I thought that was crazy. I was like, oh, wow. Apparently, they mentioned it, but they didn't really say a lot. But apparently that was something that they used to do, I guess. Like, either have sex with other people or have sex and he will watch her have sex with other people. I don't know. But either way, I was intrigued. I was intrigued at this point, girl. I was like, child, what the fuck is going on between Jax and Lewis? Because Lewis is really sitting here watching her ride the security guard's dick like a soldier. And he is not upset about it. Not really. I mean, he got the nigga, he got him fired for flirting with her. So, because it was Lewis. Lewis reported his criminal history to his boss and got him fired. First of all, Lewis did that. So I guess her feeling like, well, you're about to get fired anyway, I might as well do what I wanted to do was fuck you. Yeah, he was turned on by watching her have sex with another guy. That was crazy to me. But anyway, child, continuing on. The next morning, she wakes up to a call that Kalisha is dead. And such the show continues. Okay. So Braden is now the prime suspect. He says he didn't do it. We don't know what to believe. Will thinks that this is a making breakfast situation. The morning after he had sex with Jax, he thought he was going to make her breakfast and be at her house. And she was like, oh, sir, this is a rushing you out of my house situation, girl. That's what you get for letting him spend the night. You should have woke him up and sent him on his way, like before the sun broke. Jax gets to Braden before he answers questions about his relationship with Kalisha to the police. Braden wants to move forward, and Jax tells him to talk to Rich since he's who he requested. Oh, now you need me. Now that Kalisha's dead. Now you need my black ass to come in and save you. Well, guess what? Go talk to the white one. That's how she felt. Okay. It was a good moment for us all after he had been such an asshole to her that first episode. Mama Lou tells Lewis he and Jax need to fix their marriage before it's too late. Then he brings his brother pressures him into bringing Jax to this performance. His brother is a singer, a performer, and he's in town and he's having a performance. And normally he and Jax always go to the brother's performances. So now Lewis has been pressured by Mama Lou and his brother to, try to make things right in a certain way with Jax, because we're not making any decisions, but it forces them to spend more time together and be together. Meanwhile, Jax is doing legwork for Braden's case, even though she said she wasn't going to take the case. Braden was at Kalisha's house the night of the murder. Okay, so now we even more so think he's probably the killer. We see he went to her place talking about, I miss you, babe. I miss you. And she let him in. I told y'all that Braden was going to go to Kalisha's house to give her the dick, whether she wanted it or not. That's what he said. Rich recalls Braden telling him that he was going to fix this and give Kalisha what she wanted, whether she liked it or not. Supposedly, she signed the NDA last night. So this is what makes Jax feel like he didn't kill Kalisha, because Kalisha signed the papers. If Kalisha hadn't signed the papers, he would have felt differently. But because she signed the papers, the NDA, Jax feels like I can take his case. I was like, okay, girl. Because that was the motive to kill Kalisha. So if there's no motive, if she signed the NDA, he had no reason to kill her. So somebody else killed her. So now she wants to take the case. Chanel, y'all know Chanel is her very close friend. I told y'all she's another male identified being beat up by my husband, but telling Jax to stay with Lewis ass bitch. Okay, remember, Chanel challenges her about not wanting to take Braden's case because possibly he sexually assaulted Kalisha. And we didn't know at the time, but Jax has somewhat of a sexual assault story, and we'll get to it. Chanel is the only one of her friends that knows that story. And so Jax being apprehensive to take Braden's case seems very clear to Chanel. You don't want to take the case because of what you've been through, and you're ignoring that instead of, being honest about what's really holding you back. And you shouldn't take the case if he did something like that because of what happened to you. So Chanel was asking for Jax to be emotionally honest with herself and her friends in that moment, and Jax couldn't do it, so she shut down. At church, Jax gives Kalisha's cousin her card so she can connect her to a liaison to get justice for Kalisha, because unless you have the right people behind you, the police don't give a about doing the actual legwork it takes to find out if a millionaire murdered somebody. Then she sees Damon at church. She was surprised. She thought he was stalking her. So she follows him to his halfway house, which is across the street, to tell him to stay away from her. Like, bitch, how full of yourself can you be? That man didn't even see you, okay? He had to remind her that she just walked into his house. And then the person that's over the halfway house reminds him that he needs to have permission in order to have guests. And this is when she realizes that he was only at that church because it was right down the street from his new halfway house. Okay. And she's not supposed to be there. So she had her little, her little fix, hey, bitch, it's not about you right now. Okay. And then she collects herself and goes on about her way. Let me read y'all comments. Love you, Bondy Blue. Just discovered you 3 weeks ago and you cracked me up like no other. I've been watching all your videos. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. I know people found Jack's behavior questionable, but I love her. I love her. I don't even care. I'm here for all of it. I like all of the fucked upness of it too, because I feel like it's real. This one I was looking at Jack sideways, like, damn. I like Louis' brother. The brother wasn't in the show enough. Why side eye her? Because the husband liked it, suggesting it's something they did. Yeah, like, yeah, that's why. Like they used to do that. And she mentioned it before. We used to do that all the time, like whatever. But either way, girl, it was still a moment for me where I was shocked. Okay. But even though Jax has kind of decided she's going to take Braden's case, she's still trying to help Kalisha's cousin get justice because she doesn't believe that Braden did it. Okay. So Mama Lou comes to watch the kids and has to comment on how tired Jax look. Like, just it feels like her mom is constantly kind of picking away at her in this very passive aggressive manner, and Jax has to keep letting it roll off her back, even though it makes her feel away. Spencer, her son, is being disrespectful to her, and then she has to pretend that everything is good for Lewis's sake. Like, excuse me, y'all, that coffee. The family situation, like, is just so obnoxious. Her mom, Lewis, and her son. It seems like everybody, wants Jax to put herself last. And her refusal to do that is very upsetting to everybody. And I love it, honestly. Spencer got a D on on an assignment, and he's being an asshole to his little sister about it. She asked if he thinks mom and dad will get a divorce, and he says dad won't let that happen. And she asked, well, what about what mommy wants? Okay, like, that's another thing. Think about that. Dad won't let that happen. What about what mom wants? Like, the son doesn't even really consider how his mother feels. And I feel like I don't know how we can, like, teach boys to not be this way, but I think that this is one of those times where, because the kids are with the dad more often, because she works so much, I think Spencer probably feels the same way his dad does. And so it seems as if he's more on his dad's side, but it's because he wants his mom around more too, and she's not. So his feelings are, in essence, tied to his dad's, and I understand that. So that's why he's being an asshole to Jax. Because I think the things that Lewis wants, is the same thing that Spencer wants, her to not always be leaving Jackson. But it did upset me, child. It upset me so much, that little boy. Oh my God. Anyway, because it's like, nigga, your daddy the one that can't deal with the fact that your mama got a demanding career, and he agreed to be with this woman knowing that she had this demanding career. Jackson Lewis have a good time laughing at his brother singing the same song for the 50th time. Like, anytime they're together, like, and just kind of enjoying each other, meaning that nobody's being triggered in the moment, you can see how much Lewis and Jax really love and like each other. They get along. They look like friends. They be joked out half the time with one another. It is just that he wants her to choose him and their family over her career. And for her, it's like, no, you're asking me to choose y'all and what y'all want me to do over what I feel I should do for me. And that is a very hard thing to do to a woman who feels like she's constantly sacrificing in one way or another for her family, to feel like it's never enough. What about me? Especially when she's being treated badly for doing what she's always done and being who she's always been. Son was out of order, but I can't lie, I did wish throughout the show we saw Jax make more time for them kids. I like Jax being a somewhat non-conventional female lead. I do feel like she should have stayed single, though. I think Lewis was jealous of Jax because her career was successful and his wasn't. Uh, like, when she had no clue baby girl started her period, Jax needs balance. Jax works a demanding job, had to be the disciplinarian to the kids. Lewis has to call on her when Naima is on her period, etc. That's another thing. I do feel like it's okay for Jax to not be single. I don't think like it's crazy to me sometimes when people say stuff like that she should have stayed single, and I feel like it's because y'all feel like relationships and marriages only should work one way, and I don't think that's realistic. um let's see. Yeah, it's the internet acting funny. Y'all can hear me now. I swear, Cox, it's the pits. And you know this. All clear? Okay. I think Lewis underestimated how demanding Jack's career really was gonna be. I think so too, but I also feel like he agreed to make the sacrifices. Like, come on. You knew what her career was going to be like. It was going to be demanding. I just think that over time, what he needed changed. And I do think he resents her for putting her career first while his wasn't where he wanted it to be. And I just think both parties need to compromise, especially when kids get involved. Oh, I mean, for sure, the kids, she needed to spend more time with the kids. Uh, I think if Jags gets some therapy, she'll be fine. I think Lewis, yeah, okay. So I read those comments. Okay, so we're back good. You guys can hear me. We're good. Okay, let me just go back into my notes. So, as I was saying, Jackson Lewis are having a really good time, laughing at his brother singing the same song for the 50th time, showing us how much fun they have together when they are not stressing about the relationship. When he takes her home and they're about to have sex, he reminds her how she had sex with Will, the security guard. Like they was really getting into it. And then he tries to turn her around. Like she wanted to be close to him because sex with him is intimate. So I want to turn around. I want to be face to face with you, whereas with Will, she turned around and was facing him looking at the camera. So when he tried to turn her around, like this how you want it, she got pissed and got up off of him. And that killed the whole mood. She says he used to watch her have sex with other people before. And she also said that she wants to go to therapy. He doesn't think they need therapy. They just need to talk. And I'm like, what are you even talking about, Lewis? Going to therapy will make it easier for y'all to talk. But he thinks going to therapy is just I'm sorry, y'all. He thinks going to therapy, I'm trying to like make it so that this shit isn't always like, you know. He thinks going to therapy um is so she can find someone to take her side in their arguments. And that's not, and I feel like a lot of men feel that way, but it's like I think y'all only feel that way because y'all know y'all be on bullshit. Like, why do you automatically assume, especially when the world is male identified as it is, that you would not go to a therapist who would also see your point of view? You know what I mean? But either way, he doesn't want to go to therapy. And obviously, the situation isn't working out the way it is. So something needs to shake. She tells him to get back to the kids, like meaning get out of my face. Lewis goes to pick the kids up. Well, he goes back home to his apartment, and Mama Lou was watching the kids. And so when he comes back early, she's like, well, what happened? And he says, well, we argued. So Mama Lou leaves his house, goes over to Jack's house to tell her that she needs to forgive Lewis because he's a good man. Once again, forcing her opinion and her male identifiedness on Jax, telling Jax that Jax should be putting that man's feelings ahead of her own. Like that's in essence what that's telling her. Jax says, why are you a representative for Lewis? Are you so used to defending a man that you didn't even consider that this was hard for me too? Then her mom says she acts like she's not a good mother. So you come over here and make me the bad guy in my marriage, in my situation that is already hard for me. And then when I hold you accountable for the way you are making me feel, when you come here and defend my fucking husband to me, as if you are not my mama, okay? When I check you, now you want to cry and play victim and act like I told you wasn't a good mother. When I tell y'all that mama worked on my damn nerves, coffee on my shirt. That damn mama worked on my nerves in this moment. Okay? Like it is I was just like, how dare you show up on her doorstep? Like the situation with Lewis is already difficult. And here you come being a representative for him when she feel like she needs somebody to be a fucking representative for her. Child, let me go back off camera because I see the bars going up and down, child. So let me just keep it like this in order to make sure, we don't have as many issues with the audio. Let me read y'all comments. If she was a man, would it even be a conversation? He made that so weird. That was weird. He didn't want therapy. The roles were reversed. Jax was obviously the main breadwinner. So Lewis was actually doing a half-ass job with the kids. He was present, but still expected Jax to mother. Yes, tell the truth, Zanel. Tell the truth. Because that's very true. Sound like Marceau not wanting to talk to Dr. Francis. The mom was has way too much time to do all that. Her mom is so problematic. Roles are defined by each marriage. Come on, Dion. Yes, that mama triggered me. Didn't she though? Triggered me too. Woo child, that mom was problematic. She really worked on my nerves, child. But anyway, Jax meets with Damon. He's adjusting to being out of prison. He's working at what used to be his automotive shop, but is now run by his little brother since he's been in jail for 16 years. Okay. So he's readjusting. They go to the beach. He explains that he was missing too much of life. He had like a blanket and everything, girl. It was so cute. And because it was like he was forcing her to slow down, it was what she needed in the moment, you know? She says losing his case devastated her. It's why she left the public defender's office. He tells her that she's built to win. And he looks at her ring and says, I'm glad you're happy now. She says, yeah, me too. She's not happy. It's not good, but she does love Lewis and she doesn't want him to get the wrong idea. So she's not, really ready to, I guess, tell him that she and her husband aren't in the best situation. But anyway, Jax calls Braden and asks if he sexually assaulted Kalisha. He says he didn't. They had sex after, and Jax tells him it's common because people are usually close to people who assault them. He says, well, Kalisha's truth was he did, but his truth was he didn't. But now he's being accused of killing her, and he didn't do it. She tells him she will take the case. So he did sexually assault Kalisha. Just so we're clear, you guys, Braden absolutely did ignored Kalisha not wanting to have sex with him. And she did it just because he basically made her. Like she just went along with it after he ignored her saying no. Okay. But anyway, he had to turn himself in to the police. But at first they couldn't find him. And this was him playing games, right? So when Jax rolls up on Braden, running late for turning him into the police. Ain't this cute what millionaires get to do? They get to just be roaming around the fucking city in deep thought while the police is waiting for them to take their murdering, raping asses over here to the police station. Okay, but anyway, she finds him on a basketball court and he tells her about his little brother getting killed in front of him, hit by a stray bullet while he was on the basketball court. Susan, very much his white wife, okay, has been with him even before he didn't have a dime. Okay. So he says Kalisha was intoxicating and he fell for her all over again. He wants us to feel like he's just misunderstood. Jax does a press conference and Kalisha's cousin sees it and gets pissed off, girl, because Kalisha's cousin was like, bitch, you just gave me a card to help get justice for my cousin. You told me you wasn't taking Braden case and now you on the news talking about you helping him and they got it all wrong. And did they ask about Kalisha's husband because they had issues too? And it's getting messy, y'all. So Braden gets arrested, but he gets out and we meet his wife, Sarah, who didn't know that he cheated. So he thought she knew he was cheating. But right now, the idea is that Sarah didn't know that Braden was cheating on her. Jax goes out with her homegirls. At first, they was talking about Braden being skin folk and not kinfolk. And then Chanel starts talking about Jamarion. Jamarion is her husband, y'all. Hold up. Let me see. I thought I had saved a picture of Jamarion with his bitch ass. Okay, hold up. Let me see. Let me see. I don't know. Maybe not. Because y'all know everything be acting funny. And I won't pull nothing in because they're acting funny. But anyway, Chanel's husband, Jamarion, he's not in any of these pictures. You've probably seen him on other things before. But either way, medium size, nice looking, but an asshole, obnoxious, abusive, ex-football player, charismatic, loud, doing too much. That's Chanel's husband. So she starts talking about how Jamarion was saying how women are always throwing themselves at him. And the first time he's weak, he doesn't get credit for all the times he said no. And Jax asked, did this nigga write that speech for you? She said the dick must be fire. Okay. Now all her homegirls are looking at her like she wrong for saying that, but it's the truth of the matter. In this moment, y'all, when they were looking at Jax, like, girl, you wrong for that. Why you being that honest to this girl when you know she delusional and we like to keep her in delusional land, okay? So why are you gonna be honest and say that she sound fucking crazy and like this nigga wrote a speech for her to make excuses for his cheating for you to come back and explain it to us like we stupid? Girl, what? He may be over there tap dancing on your intelligence, but you is not gonna bring that same story to us and act like we gonna go along with it. Okay. Jamarion is a disrespectful, narcissistic ass hoe. And you can make it many excuses for him as you want to, girl. But you're not gonna tell us that he needs to get credit for the times he said no when he cheats on you. No, nigga, you gonna get credit for not cheating. When you do cheat, that's all we see. We know we do not care about all the times you said no. No, we don't. It's sad. It's so sad, but no, we don't. Okay. Now Jack's wrong for keeping it a buck. Okay, child. Jack said the quiet part out loud. She did. Because everybody looked at Chanel like, Chanel, girl, what the fuck? Jax was just the one that said the shit. I was dying laughing. I thought it was hilarious. Anyway, um, Fallon is Kalisha's cousin. Fallon shows up. And then did y'all notice that Fallon started wearing Kalisha's signature red glasses? I was just kind of like, I get you trying to make a movement for your cousin, but it's weird for you to start to assume her physical so that you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just weird to me. Like, she didn't have nothing else because Kalisha was murdered. I almost feel like you must have been financially dependent upon Kalisha. And now that Kalisha's gone, you are trying to make her death your tragedy so that you can get something out of it, because now you can no longer take from her as the breadwinner in y'all family that y'all depend on. Because I believe there was conversation at some point, because eventually Fallon's daughter, Kalisha's niece, becomes a suspect because she got into it with Kalisha at one point and stole some things from Kalisha's apartment. And because Kalisha and the niece Fallon got into it over Fallon and her little boyfriend stealing from Kalisha, the mama defended Fallon against Kalisha. But when all of this happened, cousin, cousin, sister, child, whatever the fuck Fallon is, Fallon, she her cousin, yeah. Fallon comes and is being supportive of Kalisha while she's going through this situation with Braden and the NDA and all of that. But I was just kind of like looking at the cousin, and I feel like it makes you look at the people that sometimes spearhead these campaigns when somebody's been killed. It makes you look deeply at them as a person, like what is driving them to do this in the first place. And it's not always just the pain of the person they love being murdered unjustly. Sometimes it's also how much they were dependent upon that person and how they need their death to also be something that they can gain something out of. You know what I'm saying? Like, am I tripping, or did it also feel like Fallon was trying to use Kalisha's death to basically squeeze juice from a turnip? Like, I was always taking so much from you when you were alive. Now that you're gone, I need to be able to take as much as I possibly can now that you're gone. And me spearheading this justice for Kalisha situation, it made her the star of the show instead of Kalisha. You know what I'm saying? And her putting the glasses on, it was almost like she wanted people to empathize with her based off of what happened with Kalisha. And that's fine. Like, in real life, you're gonna empathize with someone when they lose a family member, right? But it's weird when you feel like it's kind of linked to you wanting to use that person in a different capacity now that they're dead. But I see a lot of y'all saying it was weird. I also thought she must have been family bank. Yeah, I think Kalisha was a resource to many people in her life. And unfortunately, when people are done using you up, they often have no problem disposing you. wearing her glasses. Yeah, that was so weird. At certain parts, it seemed performative. It didn't feel genuine. Exactly. Fallon, I think, was financially dependent on Kalisha too. Exactly. So y'all see what I'm saying, right? That it felt like she was trying to use Kalisha's death just as she had used Kalisha in life. Because it was like Kalisha's death shouldn't make you feel like you don't have anything. Like that's crazy to me. You know, that was because you were way too codependent on Kalisha to begin with. Okay. So moving on from there. But yeah, Fallon showed up to call Jax a sellout. Girl, anyway, Damon is being hassled by his parole officer. He comes to his room and he just, starts throwing everything around, ransacking it. At the same time, Braden is having his home, excuse me, y'all, having his home ransacked by the police because they are searching his home, to find any evidence that he killed Kalisha. Um, both of them, both black men, Damon and Braden, and I love that they were playing, they were playing the Jay-Z song, what was it? OJ, the OJ song. The premise of, and this is why I love Jay-Z. The premise of the song is that it doesn't matter how much you try to, I'm not black, I'm OJ. They gonna remind your ass, no, OJ, your ass is black. So for me, this moment was showing how Damon is a parolee, bottom of the barrel. Braden is a rich black millionaire. So like they are at total, the story of OJ, yes, they are at total polar opposites of a spectrum, and yet they are still experiencing the same violation. Okay. And this is what I feel like should show you that Kanye, no matter if you got money, no matter if you in a Benz, you still a nigga. Like, unfortunately, but that was the point to me of that moment. Jax is on her way, I believe, to see Braden at his house when her daughter texts her saying, Daddy took me out of school. So she calls him asking him, did she make a bowel movement? Because if not, she needs a fiber gummy. Then Damon calls needing help from his PO situation. So Damon called her. So she's now having to deal with the situation that Lewis can't handle with their daughter. Okay, you can tell that the daughter relies on her mom in this way because Lewis didn't know what to do. If she asked her if she hasn't had a bowel movement, she needs a fiber gummy if she hasn't had a bowel movement. But I think a part of their separation is that he cannot rely on her to parent the way he always did. Like, no, you want to be separated, nigga, then you need to handle these issues that our children have on your own the way I do. Okay. But he had to call her at work. Damon calls asking for help with the PO. So she handles it all at once and goes to meet with Fallon. She tells her Kalisha signed the NDA, so Braden had no reason to kill Kalisha. And then she tells her that she needs to get some help. Fallon needs to get some help because obviously she is internalizing all of this and it's not healthy. I started to think she killed her. Fallon, I know. Like Diddy, child. The story of OJ being treated the exact same. Weird, not person thought of her cycle. Weird, no one thought of her cycle. Not a person thought of her cycle. I feel you. I think because she's so young, I think they thought that. But I was like, child, between the ages of 9 and 12, like those are usually the times as far as I'm concerned. I didn't even know that they now have medication that you can take so that you can stop a young woman for having her period. That is so weird to me, but okay. Stop trying to get that diaper off, you little badass. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to get caught back up in my notes, and here come Olivia trying to get this diaper off. Anyway, they find out about Kalisha's shady ass cousin who robbed her. Okay, which I believe is Fallon's daughter. If I'm sure, I think it's Fallon's daughter. Even though we never really saw them together, I'm not sure. Y'all tell me if I'm tripping. But either way, a video comes out of Braden and Kalisha kissing. His wife is storming out of the house when Jax comes in to rescue, stops her from leaving to protect Braden's image because all of the news media are outside their house now. Rich talks to Braden's partner, this white guy, about just finding out about Braden's affair with Kalisha when Kalisha was no longer happy with she and Braden's arrangements. Okay. The partner says he didn't care until she started misappropriating funds. He also points out he didn't like the urban route that Kalisha was trying to take their vodka business, hanging his future on black trends like black girl magic. And I was just like, it's so funny to me. Braden had to go and find a business partner that was just as black hating as he is, because that partner was basically saying, even though this black woman and her business ideas were making us money, I still feel like it's beneath me to hang my future on black trends like black girl magic. And I was just like, boy, fuck you. Do you know how much black girl magic, like, do you know how much money is made off of black people's images, bodies, what we think is cool, what we think is popping? Y'all constantly make money off of black people. So the idea that your future hanging on a black trend is problematic for you is some bullshit to me. And I just really didn't like Braden's partner. And that made me feel like the fact that you even chose this man to be your partner, knowing how he feels about black people, because he has most definitely made it known to you at some point in your relationship how he feels about black people. And you, Braden, have decided to still go into business with him and be his business partner. I mean, it's really disgusting. It's really disgusting. I think the business partner's name was Theo. I think that's what's his name. He was an asshole. Theo's an asshole. Let's see, what are y'all saying? Yeah, she's Fallon's daughter. That's what I thought. It's birth control that they give the young girls to stop them from having periods. Yeah, I don't like that. My mom tried to get it for me in the 80s because I was 9. The doctor told her I was old enough. The meds are for 8 and below. Well, now they're for older girls now. Okay, so yeah, I was right about that being her daughter. I thought the partner did it too. At one point, we all thought that it probably was Theo child, but either way, Theo is just letting himself be known as the true racist that he is. He didn't like Kalisha. So now it's a possibility that he's responsible for what happened. Jack's daughter, Naima, has her period while with Lewis. He gives her a pad and tells her he's going to call Jax. Lewis calls Jax before she goes into court, but she doesn't answer because whenever she goes into court, she has to turn her phone off, right? So Lewis takes their daughter to the ER, which I felt like was totally like, if you know she's on her period, you don't have to take her to the ER. Like, what the fuck? She's like 10 or 11 years old, obviously of age to have a period. Why are you taking her to the ER for that? Like, that was crazy to me. Braden got charged with second-degree murder while they were in court. And Fallon takes her anger to the streets and has black women protesting when they come out of court. Okay, making Kalisha, the next black martyr. Y'all, give me a second, like the video, and we'll get right back into it in a moment. Okay, back into it. So Jax gets to the ER, and after they have a talk about Naima having her period, realizing that neither one of them knew. After she gets off the phone with Damon, she does Naima's laundry and sees that Naima has been bleeding for a while now, and she didn't want to bother Jax because she knew Jax's case was such a big deal. And Jax says, listen, I'm never too busy for you. Jax felt terrible about it and cried about it. And Lewis watched her from the camera while she was on the sofa crying into a pillow. He felt bad about invading on that very private moment. So he turned the cameras off. And I was like, thank you, with your weird ass. Because on some level, that voyeur shit that he got going on, that's a problem to me on some level. So I needed him to not do that to her, invade that space that she was trying to have to herself in that moment. I thought that was odd too. Girls have their first period every day, but I guess as a father, he panicked because his little girl has hit a milestone. But this is why men need to be able to be more comfortable with the facts of life. Like I hate when people like things that happen all the day, all the damn time, and then everybody still wants to have this weird reaction to it. A period is a period. Okay? A period is a period. Okay? You don't have to take her to the hospital for it. You could have at least waited for her mom to come home before you took her to the hospital. But I feel like it's the lack of knowledge that these men have about their daughters' bodies. Reminds me of the episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville when Tisha was trying to get the men to be involved with that period party she was having for the girls, and nobody felt like the men should be there. And it's like, no, y'all need to understand this. If you're going to go out there and have girl children, and honestly, I feel like if you're going to be putting your penis inside of women's vaginas, you should understand how vaginas work. In my opinion, I feel like this ignorance of women's bodies has allowed men to skate by with a lack of accountability. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far because think about it, they really don't take a lot of responsibility in sex as far as preventing pregnancy. They don't take a lot of responsibility in taking care of those children once, pregnancies turn into children, they don't want to handle the responsibility of it. So I think they like to stay ignorant so that they don't have to be responsible for what happens. And I think that's foolishness. You know what I'm saying? Yes, fathers need to be realistic when raising a daughter. It's important for girls to get their father's perspective on things as well. It is. And I think it's more important for men to be comfortable with that fact. I remember when I got my period, my dad cried. He cried. And I just feel like I understand, that it is a milestone that says that, this child is no longer your little girl anymore and she's growing up. And I get that. And that's emotional. That's a change. But it also needs to come with the knowledge of what is happening to her body and some type of comfortability with discussing that. I think it's totally ignorant at this point for men to still be so, ooh, icky periods. Like, boy, get the fuck out of here. Like, y'all niggas ain't out here laying down towels. Okay. Anyway, I'm sorry. Moving along. Damon finds out his brother is doing illegal shit at his chop shop. When Damon tries to check him, his brother sons him and tells him, like, at the end of the day, when your ass was in jail, I was the one that was making sure this business stayed afloat. Daddy left it to me. I'm the junior because he knew you couldn't do it. All of this bullshit. You could tell his little brother has a lot of resentment towards him as the beautiful older brother that everybody loves. Okay. On some level, that brother probably was glad when his brother went to jail. Less competition. But anyway, when Damon tries to check him, he sons him, tells him close up before he goes back to the halfway house after he apologizes. His brother tells him with great risk comes great reward. He gives him some money, and hopefully now Damon is going to get involved in this illegal shit while he's on parole, which is so stupid. Daniel gets assaulted by Kalisha's hood ass. Okay, Daniel. I want y'all to know who Daniel is because y'all like, who the fuck is Daniel? Okay, so Daniel is Jax's tech guy. Okay, she has her female paralegal law assistant, and then she has Daniel who does all of her intelligence work. And Daniel gets assaulted while he is following Kalisha's hood ass niece and the niece's boyfriend. So Fallon's daughter, child, I forgot her name already, but her badass. Okay, her and a boyfriend jumped and beat up Daniel when he was following them because they were trying to sell the laptop that they stole from Kalisha. Jax hears the whole thing over the phone, them jumping him outside this store. And then we find, Daniel in the hospital, but he was all right. Okay, just to let y'all know what happened to Daniel right quick. Do you see the parallel of Brady on this trial and Tory Lanez? They are changing the narrative of Meg being shot to irrelevant relationships, similar to Jax shifting the light off Brady or a reach. No, it's the same thing. Because the whole thing about, and I guess a lot of people don't understand this about court cases. You are not trying to prove that somebody didn't do it for sure. You're just trying to prove reasonable doubt. Meaning, and that's why the show is called Reasonable Doubt, because if I can give you another explanation that fits, then you can't say that this person did it, because there's a possibility that there's another story, there's another narrative. You know what I'm saying? So for instance, Jax is going to point the finger at damn near everybody except for Braden in order to get him off. His wife, Kalisha's ex-husband, now Kalisha's niece. The finger will be pointed at everybody in order to prove there's a possibility that it was somebody other than Braden. That's all she has to prove, is that it's a possibility that he didn't do it. And if there's a possibility he didn't do it, they have to vote. They have, when they deliberate, they have to vote on whether the burden of proof has been proven. Has the prosecution made us clear that Braden is the murderer of Kalisha without reasonable doubt? No. Like, just to let y'all know. But yes, Daniel is the investigator, but he might be more good on tech than telling people. That's why I said he does the tech work. I have been watching Kindred, just to let y'all know. I have been binging it. So I absolutely will come to y'all with a culmination review, just like I'm doing Reasonable Doubt, when I'm done watching it. Okay. So, yes, Daniel got hurt following behind Fallon's wayward ass daughter and boyfriend. Braden and Sarah's kids can't even go to school because the kids are shaming them about Braden being on trial for murder. Braden says he needs Sarah. She says, "What happened to hiding your white wife from your urban audience?" So it seems as if at some point, because Kalisha was bringing the black audience to the vodka, company that they own, he was trying to hide his white wife, and trying to hide that side of himself that, was running away from blackness. Now he's trying to run towards it because he can make money off of being a black man owning his own vodka company. So this should let y'all know how a lot of these niggas be sellouts until they can get the black dollar. Then all of a sudden they want to be back pro-black. That's why, the women you marry, lets us know a lot. Because a lot of times the women you marry, that shows us who you really are. That's why a lot of black people, and black women specifically, don't like all of you pro-black men that don't marry black women, because for us it's always a facade to get the black dollar, and usually the black dollar comes from black women. I'm gonna leave y'all alone about it, but it's the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like the money that comes from the black community largely comes from black women. Okay. Yes, it's absolutely giving a TJ Holmes feel. I even feel like Will Smith and LeBron James probably fit into the criteria of black men who would rather date white women, rather be in long-term relationships with white women, but because they know in order for them to keep the star power where it needs to be, they have to be with a black woman. I told y'all this, that star power for black men does not get that high if they're with a white woman and their business is based on public perception. If them being successful is based on public perception, it's best for them to be in relationships with black women. Those of them that decide not to do that, yeah, they're taking a risk so that they can have more access to white people through the white women that they are in relationships with, and so forth. And, of course, people are going to be successful either way. But to me, when I think about the biggest black, actors, or, just the biggest black artists, they always have to keep black people close to the vest, which means a black woman has to be held close to the vest a lot of the times, which is, we were talking about Diddy and my members only live yesterday, and I'm going to release those later on today, so that I can do another one soon. But Diddy, I feel like once there seemed to have been a pattern of these Asian women, now we see there's a new woman that's popping out that's black, but it was very convenient that she popped out just as everybody was starting to question Diddy was with all of the Asian bitches except for Carisha. And Carisha's the only one that seems to be working for this relationship, putting the liquor all in all of her Instagram posts and shit. Thank you, Stephanie Ray, for the super chat. Bondi, I hope you do a similar review for Riches on Amazon Prime. It was so good. I did watch it. I didn't know if y'all will want me to review it, but I might, because I really enjoyed the show. So anyway, Jack's saying that they need to remind folks it's melanin over money to defend Braden. She's now tapping into that same thing, melanin over money. Okay, which really means money. if you know something about the black dollar. Okay. She's on a run and Will shows up in his car, and she has to tell him that she's not interested in him in that way. He tells her what they have is special and it will be dumb to throw it away. And we was like, Will, what the fuck are you talking about? Like y'all had sex one time once you were fired from being her security guard and she kicked you out of her house the next morning. What the fuck are you talking about? Y'all have something special. What the hell are you talking about? Like you had sex with this lady one time after you was fired from being her security guard and then the next morning she kicked you out of her house. Y'all do not have anything special, sir. I don't know what you're talking about. It's giving weird. Okay. It's giving we should be worried. Are you the person that had Jax tied to a chair at the beginning of the season? Are you the person? We have questions now. Is Will going to be someone we have to worry about? It feels that way. Silla Heath, thank you for the super chat. Yes, y'all like the video just because. Thank you. So Jax meets with the girls. She's been missing in action. She tells them about Naima having her period. She also wants to use Chanel's husband, Jamarion, because he's having a football event, and she wants to have Braden show up there to show support for, that he doesn't support domestic violence. So basically, show up, rub elbows with black people, make yourself look good amongst the black people, so that you'll look better in the eye of public opinion. Lewis tells Jax that he turned the cameras off in the house for good, which means he will no longer be watching her in moments when she is trying to cry in peace. Spencer thinks he can lock doors because dad lets him lock doors at his place. It's getting really disrespectful. Like Spencer is closing the door in Jack's face when she's trying to talk to him. He's on the phone, like, hold on. What, ma? Oh, all right. And then closing the door in her face, real disrespectful, and locking doors, even though she told him not to lock the doors. Let me tell y'all, that little boy really working on my nerves. That little boy really working on my nerves, y'all. Jax and Damon go on a dinner date and they talk. It's real cute. She ends up having to pay because they don't take debit cards at the restaurant. So already we're starting to see where Damon and Jack's relationship can have problems and issues because this is a man that wants to treat a woman a certain way, but he does not have the tools. He doesn't have, the 16 years, to figure out his business, to figure out his life, to figure out his finances. He lost all of that. And now you're trying to fuck with a woman, whose level you're not really on. But because of the emotional connection that y'all have, she doesn't mind pulling her card out to pay for shit. You know what I'm saying? When it starts to set in how expensive shit is nowadays, it seems as if Damon now thinks that his brother's offer at the chop shop with the illegalities might be a good idea because he has to sustain this relationship with Jax, and Jax is out of his league. Okay. So Jamarion has his Peace on the Streets event. Chanel is there and she rolls her eyes because she did not want Jax to use him to help Braden, which I did not understand. Like she's always, making excuses for her husband. But now that your friend needs to use him, in business, you want to be like, no, I don't want you to use him. Like it's just very weird the way Chanel acts about Jamarion. Braden gives this speech at the event about a kid pulling a gun on him around the corner from his house when he was a kid. He thought his friends were right. He should have been strapped. He should have had a gun. And then he realized either of them would end up dead or in jail if they both had guns. They have another choice, and that's to get the guns taken off the street. And that's what Braden is speaking out about at Jamarion's event. Get these guns off the street. And his own personal story that, has affected the way he sees life. And y'all know this sad sob story about how the hood took his brother away and how the hood almost killed him is going to make everybody understand him distancing himself from black people. So now it's like, oh, we get it because we know how hard street shit is, but no, like fuck out of here. That street shit. Not every black person is assigned to street shit. And you want to separate yourself from your blackness. Okay. Not street shit, your blackness. Okay. So I think everybody's going to cut Braden some slack and give him grace he doesn't deserve. Braden says the guy who robbed him was killed 2 weeks later. And if he was strapped, he would have been dead too. People liked his story and they responded. Now the black men screaming he's innocent. Y'all know how y'all be. Y'all be waiting on the sidelines to come and dick ride another rich black man because you believe in your spirit that this black man at some point is going to put his arms up in solidarity to protect your black degenerate ass from something, but y'all are not the same. Braden knows it. You don't. Okay. It's the same thing for all of the niggas that defend Tory Lanez. Do y'all really think Tory Lanez is your homeboy? Do you really think he would be a loyal friend to you? The way, I mean, because really that's how it comes off. It comes off like a whole bunch of dick riders that want so badly for somebody to like them, so they go along with something that they know is a lie, like going along with the idea that Meg didn't get shot, that Tory didn't do it, all of that bullshit, because y'all like somebody that is misogynistic and disrespectful to women. And so you want to support him by lying about what he's done. But really, the reason why you like him is because you know he's done what he's done. That's the funny part about a lot of the people that are screaming that Tory Lanez didn't do what he did. He didn't shoot Meg. It's so funny to me because it's like, I really feel like the only reason y'all niggas like him is because y'all know that he shot her. That's the only reason. Because otherwise, I'm trying to understand why somebody pulling bullet fragments or bullets out of their fucking foot is not enough evidence for you to believe that they got shot. Y'all sound crazy. Anyway, how they doing Deion Sanders after he lied about his office being robbed? Deion Sanders lied and said his office was robbed. You know what's so funny? I said what I said in my in the Ooh Ladies first panel and in my video. I felt like Deion has always been a sellout. I don't know why, I think people are happy to have the wool pulled over their eyes by men like Deion Sanders, but I feel like, the vibe has always been apparent and clear to me. Um, so this is not surprising as much as it's surprising to everybody else. Okay. Um, so they have a reporter at this event to ask about Kalisha's husband, and it's so that they can bring and introduce a new suspect to Kalisha's death. And her husband is played by Christian Keys. Y'all know he another one of them light skins men that I like. Christian Keys is here, sitting next to Jax, opposite of Sean Patrick Thomas. Love me some Christian Keys, girl. But anyway, so Christian Keys is Kalisha's ex-husband. He was hurt by Kalisha, cheating on him with Braden and all of this shit. So there's a possibility that he could have killed Kalisha out of jealousy. Chanel tells Jax that she only came to Jamarion's event because she knew that Jax was going to be there, so she's there for Jax, and she's been staying on Sally's futon. So apparently, her and Jamarion aren't even living together right now. Chanel is hiding a lot from Jax right now. Like, there's a lot going on in her household, and we keep getting bits and pieces, but we're not really getting the full picture. Kalisha's husband tells Sarah, Braden's wife, he knows that she was emailing Kalisha and threatening Kalisha to stay away from Braden before hold on, wait. It said she sent Kalisha and she threatens him before he ends up like his slut wife. Okay, so yeah. So Christian Keys basically confronts Braden's wife, Sarah, about the fact that he saw emails on her computer that Sarah had sent. And y'all remember, Sarah was not supposed to know about Kalisha and Braden's affair until Kalisha was killed. But this tells us that she knew about it beforehand. And not only was she threatening Kalisha, but now she's threatening Kalisha's husband. Okay. So, just so y'all are clear on what's going down. I hope it all makes sense. Okay. I don't know if this was discussed, but this show, Reasonable Doubt, is loosely based off Tory's former attorney, Sean Holly. Really? Hilarious, guilty. Facts, Bondy. What you think about the woman caping for Tory? I think that they're male identified. I think they have the same. It's the same thing. I think they think that if they stand up for these men, that these men will stand up for them. I'm not like those women. I'm a pick me. You should pick me. But they're not going to, because they always are going to value their relationships with other men above the relationships that they have with women. It doesn't matter that these women use themselves as shields. You know what I'm saying? Sean Holly was Cosby's attorney too, right? Ooh, Holly Berry too. Ooh, Sean Holly just out here, being a good lawyer. Dion misspoke. It was found that another coach put their stuff in a locker. They did break into his car. Okay, they broke into his car. Dion misspoke. Okay. Okay. I still feel like, it's some bullshit with him, but I'm gonna let it go. Um, Jack's assistant tells her how her father, a middle-aged black man, looks up to Braden like Trump. He believes in building business. And we were just talking about the black men that champion men like Braden. And it's because they think that they can be like these men. Like they admire these men because they've been able to obtain financial success. And so they look at them as overall life successes. And that's not the case. There's still some back and forth. Rich didn't like being shushed like a child um by Jax. She apologized and that wasn't good enough for him. So like you kind of feel like at this point Rich may not be as loyal to Jax as he needs to be in this situation. Like there was definitely an energy that Rich was going to do something to screw Jax over, because of feeling inadequate standing next to her. I think he's often made to feel like he's not as good as her, even though he recognizes the racism part of it. So it's like, even though everybody gives her shit, I still feel insecure around her, but I can't act on my insecurity for real because I am smart enough to recognize that this one black woman being in this position is not something that is normal and not something that, is usual. So I can't really be mad at her because I know how good she is, but it does make me feel insecure. So we didn't know if we could trust Rich at this point. Um, but she tells him she apologized and he needs to figure out when that apology is good enough. But until then, she has work to do. Okay. Jax was supposed to meet with her dad, but her dad didn't show up. So this is when we find out that Jax's biological father is a fucking deadbeat. Okay. But her mom showed up in his place because she knew that Jax's dad would disappoint her the way he always has. So she showed up to the dinner, with her daughter just to comfort her. And it was the moment where we realized the love that her mother does have for her. She said she knew it would happen. That's why she told him if he wasn't serious to leave Jax alone. Jax gets upset with her mom and blames her mom for her dad not being there. Well, he didn't come because you told him. No, Jax, no. Now you're doing exactly what your mom does, which is making excuses for a man not doing what he said he was going to do or not holding up his end of a deal, which is that he was supposed to come and meet with you. It doesn't matter what your mom said. He was supposed to come and meet with you because he told you he was coming to meet with you. And instead, he left you there waiting. She tells her, Jax tells her mom that she wishes her mom would forgive her father the way she forgave Paul. And this is when we realize that Paul must have done something to Jax. Daddy wasn't the only one who disappointed her. And I was just like, this is when I started to get the inkling that some shit was going on with Paul and Jax. And we're gonna get some flashbacks, but we're gonna wait on it. Okay. Um, Child, not Kelsey on the stand taking the fifth right now. Just FYI. Child, not her taking the fifth, the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth after she was supposed to get up and testify on Meg's behalf. I guess now we got our answer about her being on Meg's side in this situation and just, staying quiet as to not give Tori the upper hand. But girl, we'll talk about it on the Bondy Blue show later, y'all. Hopefully once the weather calms down and I can come back to y'all and not have to worry about my live being interrupted. Um, so back to Jax. Jax talks to Lewis again about why they're separated. She can always count on him. She tells him about her daddy not showing up, and then she makes excuses for her dad. She tells Lewis every time she opens up, he shuts her down, talking about Lewis. He says if this doesn't work out between the two of them, nothing is keeping him from his kids. And this conversation about her dad not being there for her turns into a conversation with him about her not taking the kids from him or whether their relationship works out or not. He's never going to be a deadbeat dad like her dad, but the way he said it, I think it made her feel a way, made her feel bad. First of all, why would you say that? Like, why would you think I would ever keep our kids from you? First of all. Second of all, you know saying that was fucked up. Like, she's sitting here defending her dad and he telling her your dad ain't shit and I would never be like that ain't shit ass nigga. Okay. But she says it's like that. He says it is. But it puts them on defense with each other as if they're going to have to fight over the kids. And I don't think that was ever what Jax thought was going to happen. Um, I knew he was an old drunk. CM. What? So many twists and turns and potential suspects for both her kidnapping and Kalisha's death. At one point, I thought Sarah did both killing and kidnapping. Why is she taking a fifth? Child, this sucks. I think Tori gonna get off because of the doubt in this case. I feel like somebody shot her. And if you can prove that Tori was the one that shot her with more GCR being on his hands, I don't know how you can say that's reasonable doubt. Um, to me, reasonable doubt has to be within reason. And I feel like a lot of people are not in reason with the facts of this case. I think Rich and Jax had a rocky start, which is why Jack's friends called him a bitch. And she said they are good now. Yeah, he probably had a lot of moments where he felt less than she did. And because of that, he decided to be an asshole to her. But he realizes how good she is at her job. So with that respect comes, him and her being good versus him giving her problems all the time. Okay. So Jax goes to Spencer's room, her son. And when he, pushes the door in her face and closes it, before she can walk away, she hears him lock the door. And she said, I just told this little nigga he could not lock his door. So she goes and gets a screwdriver and takes the doorknob off the door and tells him, he said, what you doing? She was like, not raising a fuck boy. I know that's not what I'm doing. She said, try me again and you won't have a door. Okay. I actually love this moment because I feel like her son had been playing in her face for a while and she needed to let him know you can feel away all you want to, but if you think you're about to be in my house disrespecting me, you got another thing coming, young man. Okay. I told you not to lock this damn door. So now you don't have a doorknob. Play with me again, you won't have a door. Okay. I don't agree with taking the door away because I feel like you shouldn't feel like you can take kids' privacy away. Like sometimes the privacy is just them trying to be in their own space, in their own emotions versus being around their parents and feeling, pulled to feel a way or show up a certain way. So I would never take my child's door off their door, but like no locks. Yeah, no, you can't lock the door just because I don't know what the fuck could be going on. Okay, it's a safety issue. If a lot of people are not in reason, then they have doubt. So he may get off, LOL, or get a mistrial. Well, we'll see. Um, but anyway, so yeah, Jax told Spencer she was not raising a fuck boy, and I loved that moment so much. Loved it so much. Daniel and Jax roll up on Morgan. Morgan is Kalisha's niece to get the laptop that she stole from Kalisha. Damon shows up to Jack's house in the middle of the night with the money from the dinner when they went out and she had to pay. He felt a way about that. So he had to make sure he came with the money to pay for pay for the dinner. He asked about her dad and she tells him that he didn't show up to dinner. She tells him that she would invite him inside, but the kids are there. He gives her I'll fuck the shit out of you look. Okay, and tells her that Lewis is stupid for letting her go. I was just like, oh Lord, I can't take it. Child Michael Ealy, Jesus. So y'all, Sarah calls Kalisha's husband and says there's more to the emails that she sent. So now they're gonna meet up. We get the flashback to when Jax took Damon's case, and we find out that he and his homeboy got into a fight at a bar, and a man ended up dead. He wanted to go to trial because he didn't do it, but it wasn't a good decision. He actually probably should have took the plea deal that they were offering, because he would have got out in less time and all of that, but he didn't do it. And so I think he was trying to correct the mistake he made the first time by not taking that deal. We were in a flashback to when Jax took Damon's case originally, and we find out that he and his homeboy got into this bar fight. This man ends up being killed. He was stabbed. Um, But when Jax took the case, she was basically telling Damon to go ahead and take the plea deal that they were offering, but he didn't want to take the plea deal. But he ends up taking it when he says that he was just an inmate to her. And y'all, I didn't like that because it made her have to be emotionally invested. Like, you only see me as a number anyway, which is fucked up. You don't want to be seen as a number, but it also made me feel like that was a way for him to emotionally get her invested in him. Okay. And then I told y'all about, back in the day, how Chanel and Sally didn't know that Autumn was gay yet, that Jax was the first one to know that. So we know that Jax is closer to Autumn in some respect than the other women are. She's also the one that seems to have her shit together, Autumn, as far as I can tell. Besides Sally, Chanel is all fucked up as far as I'm concerned. Okay. But I'm gonna just go ahead and leave it right there. And we'll come back. Um, you know, once the Wi-Fi and things kind of start acting right. But I do feel like that's somewhat of a halfway point for us. It's about to be 2 hours anyway, and I didn't want to be on here much longer than that. So I'm going to leave this up, but I'm going to edit it so I can cut out all of these spaces that we've had because of the Wi-Fi issues, and I'll put up a clean version of it for everybody before the next one. And right after I get off this live, I am going to be putting up the other BondyBlue show videos that only my members have seen. So if you're a member, you were already in that live, but I'm going to cut it up and put it up for everybody on YouTube. All the people that aren't members and that are just subscribers. If you want to become a member, check down below in the description box for the Patreon link. You can go to my homepage here on YouTube and click join, or you can become a member on my website, bondyblueshow.com. Okay. So with that being said, make sure y'all like the video. So sorry for the Wi-Fi issues, but it's a tornado coming, child. It's a storm of brewing. So I love you guys. I hope you guys stay safe, and I will see y'all in the next one.